Hello class, and welcome back to the appendicular skeleton. I'm going to be going over quite a few things in this video. I will also do a video that goes over very quickly the PowerPoint, but I figured you guys would want to see models of the bones themselves up close and personal with my own personal skeleton. So what you are seeing as far as the photograph is concerned is an old-fashioned anatomy and physiology laboratory class from Edinburgh Medical University. So, hi, it's probably one of the only times you will be seeing me. What we're going to start with is looking at the pectoral girdle, which is these two bones together. This is the scapula, and this is the clavicle. They together combine to be the pectoral girdle. Girdle does is these two bones are responsible for supporting the upper limbs, and they provide attachment points to muscles that move the upper limbs so that your shoulder can be flexible. So let's kind of look at the scapula. So we have the lateral border, the suprascapular notch, which is this right here. We have the superior border, which is this. Superior angle. The coronoid process. Behind that, right here, is the acromen. We have the glenoid cavity. And this is where your humerus attaches, or the glenoid humerus joint. The lateral border. Suprascapular fossa. The medial border. This is what goes towards your spinal column. So be like this with your vertebrae right here. Okay, this is the anterior or back side of the scapula. And as you can see, there's the acromen right here. The fossa spine, and of course lateral and medial coronoid process again. So it's another view that shows the glenoid cavity, the coronoid process, the acromen, the spine, infraspinous fossa, and of course this is the lateral border and inferior angle. Okay, now let's go to the clavicle. The clavicle is pretty easy. It has two ends. We have the sternal end, which is what attaches to your sternum, and the acromal end, which is slightly curved. Okay. So from there, we need to go to the upper limbs. Each upper limb consists of one humerus, one ulna, one radius, 8 carpals, 5 metacarpals, and 14 phalanges. So the function is to form the framework of the upper limbs. There are several parts of the lever when the muscle contracts. So let's start with your humerus. You can more or less see this. And my skeleton, if I put it together, would probably be only about 5 feet tall. So it is a little bit shorter than your average one, but still works pretty good. This is your humerus. So, or the upper superior portion of your arm. So we have the head of the humerus, which is this right here, the greater tubercle, the surgical neck, the anatomical neck, and then we have the radial groove. Kind of see it. The specimen doesn't really show it too well. We have the deltoid tuberosity, which will become important when we deal with muscles. Go down to the bottom. We have the radial fossa and the coronoid fossa. We have the truncula, which is right here. This is the capitulum. Then posterior again, we have the medial epicondyle and the lateral epicondyle. Let's see, what else should you guys know? This model doesn't really show too well. The lateral supracondyle ridge. This right here is the olecranon. So this is the humerus. So from the humerus, we're going to go down a little bit to the radius and ulna. So the radius and ulna. Easiest way to tell these two apart is to look at the heads a little better. So the radius has a circle on the head. So if you're looking at it, the circumference of a circle is pi r, or radius, squared. The ulna looks kind of like Sailor Moon's trident, or a slight U shape if you look at it a certain way. So these are the next two. Start with ulna. We have the olecranon process, which is this top portion here, the truncular notch, the coronoid process, the radial notch, and then we go down to inferior portion. We have the styloid process and the head of the ulna, head of the radius. Here is the neck of the radius. And then we have the styloid process. That is all I think I want you all to know for that. Next, of course, we have the hand bones. And well, for your written homework, I think you will have to know each of the phalanges and whatnot name. For your practical and quizzes, what you will need to know is that these are carpals, and that would be right in here. And then you have your metacarpals, which are right in here. And the phalanges are these top portions, or your fingers. Now let's go and start looking at the lower portion. You have your hip bone, which is this right here. And if you put two of them together, along with, okay, so you have the pelvis, which consists of the pelvic girdle. Pelvic girdle are both your hip bones, and the sacrum and the coccyx. So if you put these two along with the sacrum and the coccyx, it is the pelvis. The pelvic girdle is just these two bones together. Pelvic girdle, when you add in, these do is they provide support to the trunk and attachment for the lower limbs. So let's kind of look at it. If you think right in there in between would be where your sacrum and your coccyx would sit. But we'll look at just the hip bone itself really quickly. So we have the posterior superior right here, iliac spine, which is this, iliac crest. Have to kind of edit that out. Your hip bone, we have this right here, which is the posterior superior iliac spine, iliac crest, the sacral joint, anterior superior iliac spine, then the anterior inferior iliac spine, the ischial spine, incipitum, pubic tubercle, albitory form, the pubic symphysis is right in here, and it's what connects them. Looking from the occipitum, you have the ilium, which is this big portion here. You have the pubis and the ischium. These are what's important. Next, we will go on to the femur. This is the femur. So we will start at the superior side of the femur. Femur is the biggest bone, and along with the teeth, least likely to decompose. So we have the head, the neck, the greater trochanter, the trochlear crest. We have the gluteal tuberosity, lesser trochanter, the linea aspera, and the pectinal line. So we'll go this way. And what you want to look at here is the patellar groove. The patella is your kneecap, and that's where it sits. You have the lateral epicondyle, the medial epicondyle, medial condyle, lateral condyle. This is the body or shaft of the femur. These are the condyles. So we have the medial, which of the head here. This is lateral, right here. Oh, can't see it, sorry. This is lateral, and this is medial, because the head goes inward. So medial, lateral. Condyle, epicondyle. Kind of hard to see. So that is your femur. As for the patella, the apex, which is kind of pointed. This is the inferior portion, and the base is right here. You go to the other side, you will see the articular faucets. Hopefully you can see that. And we will go to your lower leg, where we have the tibia and the fibula. So what I always say about the tibia and fibula is that the fibula kind of lies at being a bone, because it is very, very flimsy, as you can see in comparison. So what you want to look at is the medial malleus, the fibular notch, this one doesn't really show it too well, but up in here would be the attachment of the patella ligament to the tibial tuberosity. Can't really see it too terribly well. So look like this. We have the medial condyle, intercondyle eminence, and the lateral condyle. We have this right here, which is the solar line, and the groove for the tibialis posterior tendon, medial malleus. Okay, and then articular surface of the head, the apex of the head itself, the neck, and we kind of go down. This is the incus border, medial crest, the, I can't really see the nutrient foramen on this model, but that's okay. Frontal border, this is the body. And then we have the on to your foot, which is the last portion. We have the calcaneus, this is your heel, the talus, then you have tarsals, which are right in here, metatarsals, and phalanges or toes. While we are on this, what I want to show you is a few resources that you might not know about. Okay, so let's go to student view and you should be able to find anatomy and physiology revealed, which is right here. Okay, click there, and then from here you can go to skeletal, and then all sorts of fun stuff you can look at. Let's look at the pelvis. As you see here, the pelvis includes the hip bones, the pelvic symphysis, the coccyx, and the sacrum. Normally also included is the first few lower lumbar in the picture, but again, this is what is considered the pelvis. So, but this is pretty cool, and this is free with your textbook. It will show you all sorts of fun information about what it is, the function, and some awesome comments. The other thing is Get Body Smart. This has skeletal system that you can go through. Which shows you all sorts of interesting things. So, medial border. Yay. So you can play around with it, but it's really nice because it not only has the skeleton, but it also has muscular system, nervous system, and then for next semester, the circulatory, respiratory, and urinary system. Okay, I am done with this video, and I will see you for the PowerPoint. Take care.